What's going on, everybody out there, and welcome back to the Dark Avenger comic book review, the series where I like to talk about comics I've read. Normally, in the previous week, we are playing catch up. This week, you're going to be seeing multiple reviews coming out. We're going to be playing catch up this entire week. So, you're going to be seeing me in the same clothes because I'm going to be sitting here doing multiple reviews in a row, recording. Again, if you want details, go over to Dark Avenger Live. That happened yesterday. Today, this should be going up on Tuesday. And if you want to know why you're seeing a review a day for the next several days, it's because I'm catching up. So, this episode 526, we're covering books that came out the week of October 25th, 2023, the last week of October. And man, so far, out of all the reviews I'm going to be recording, this is the longest. This is the review that has the most amount of books. So, I'm going to waste no time. And again, to play catch up, not going to be going into as many details. Once we do catch up, you'll be seeing the screenshots again, the details. And I promise the goal of this week is to catch up. So this way I can get back to doing the reviews the way I like to do them. But because these are getting to be so late, again, I want to get them out there to share my thoughts. But I'm sure it being so far in the past now that a lot of us have already moved on to the stuff coming out in late November. Anyway, TMNT Stranger Things issue number 4. If you're reading it, if you like the crossover, you'll be reading it. I'm really, again, TMNT is IDW's crossover book for now. And GunSlinger issue number 25. Yes, I'm getting back into the Spawn books. GunSlinger, this was an excellent issue. He is looking for revenge for his dead sister. He ends up going after a gang leader who was one of the first people who went after his sister. His sister is dead. And basically makes easy work of the gang. And then after threatening the boss and talking with the boss for a bit, we get the ending we all figure is coming by the very start of the issue. I love it. Gunslinger is one of my favorite side characters in the Spawn universe. Again, if you're a fan of the Spawn universe, you're going to be reading it. If you're not, you won't. Personally, love the artwork, love the story. Will be sticking around. Does not connect, though, to what's going on in Spawn, which we're going to get into now. Spawn, issue 346. Spawn makes the decision in this issue. He is going to be going for the throne of hell. He's going to be taking Malbolgia's spot, and he's going to rule over hell. That's what we find out in this issue. We have Scorch. We have She Spawn in this issue. We have several guests in this issue, Haunt, etc., because they're part of the Scorched book, which we will get into in a future review. But for right now, I loved it. The whole point of the book is Spawn decides he is going to go for the throne of hell. This way he can control what's going on in hell and he can keep the peace in general on earth. So I'm down. I'm glad I jumped in at this moment so I can follow the book in this new arc. Grimm Fairy Tales, Grimm Tales of Terror, the 2003 Halloween special. I loved it. A bunch of horror story mini stories, a bunch of horror stories in one giant special. If you love horror stories, this was an enjoyment to read. Again, I read it nearly 3 weeks ago now. I do recommend it. If you're a Halloween themed fan, you're going to want to read this book. If not, you won't. Wonderland Annual Out of Time, or Wonderland Out of Time. I like this book a lot. It follows um, the mother and daughter from Wonderland. They end up getting separated at a point because they have the hourglass that allows them to travel between Wonderland and Earth. Of course, they're the peacekeepers of Wonderland and Earth. Um, and I love how the ending has a bit of a twist to the book. I'm not going to spoil it. Read the book, find out. Again, when it comes to Zenescope, love the artwork, love the storytelling. This was a long book to read, though. There's a lot to digest in Wonderland Annual or Out of Time. Highly recommend dedicating some time to read this book, but definitely recommend checking this book out. Now we've got Action Comics number 1058. So this issue, again, it takes up right where the last issue left off. Superman versus this being that was able to clone Superman and take away his powers. So it was up to Clark and the super family had depowered Superman to stop this alien who was able to mimic Clark's powers or steal Clark's powers. And they do, of course. I'm not going to say how. I'll read the book. And now Clark slowly is regaining his powers. It's going to take some time. But we find out that the leader of Blue Earth not only knew Clark was Superman, but was looking to do this to destroy Superman and to further cause a division between alien life and humans, basically the aliens on Earth. And there's a whole point to it. And there's a reveal at the end of the issue. I'll be talking about that in 1059. It was an excellent issue. Highly recommend it. The Flash issue number 2. This is where I wave my white flag. Artwork took me out of the book. Story didn't hold me as much as I wanted it to. I'm sorry, Wally. This book is a pass for me. Steelworks issue number 5. I love how in this issue, by the end of the issue, first of all, we got Lana, who now has her Supergirl, her Superwoman powers again. So I love how she's now part of the like extended super family, and we've got this big mech that's destroying Metropolis, and Steel actually takes the lead and says, "You guys stay out of it. This is my problem, and I'm going to deal with it." And that's where the book kind of ends, and it says to be concluded. Still works if you're a fan of Steel. Again, I feel like I'm going to be saying that a lot with a few of these books because it's true. Personally, I'm enjoying it. Um, but again, Steel is one of the lesser of the Super family characters that I'm interested in, but still excellent miniseries. Captain America, we are now in Marvel, issue number 2. Just like Flash, I'm waving the white flag. Spider-Man guest starring in it. It bored me. The story, it has a lot to do with flashbacks in Captain America's past. Captain America is a very hard sell for me. He's one of those characters where the story has to really grab me or you're going to lose me. And it just feels disjointed. It just doesn't hold me. And right now, Captain America is kind of doing what Wolverine is doing, crossing over with a bunch of other superheroes. And where Wolverine, there's a story connected to all of it. And yeah, with Cap, there's a story connected to it too. Wolverine, I could get behind. Cap, just can't get behind it. Mention for this book, Hallows Eve, The Big Night. Again, Marvel's Halloween one shot. Do I have to say it again? If you're into the Halloween books, you'll be checking it out. I liked a lot of the short stories in the book. The previous episode we had the DC one. This is the Marvel one. I like holiday themed books. I'm looking forward to the Christmas themed books that are going to be coming out, but very good. I enjoyed it. Up to you. Immortal Thor issue number 3. Now, this is another one that's a hard sell for me. However, this kept me. This book kept me. Thor goes into the sleep and he's on a planet where time on Earth doesn't move forward. Like it's kind of like it moves very slowly. So he takes his long sleep. He comes back with the big beard. He confronts female Thor. It's a lot of dialogue. a lot of dialogue, but it's all a test. And in the end, Thor passes the test. And he comes back to Earth and he comes face to face with young Loki, from my understanding. Again, artwork kind of possibly threw me off a bit, but he does talk about female Loki as she and when he's talking to Loki. So I'm guessing there are two. Again, I am out of the loop when it comes to Thor, when it comes to Marvel, just getting back into it. But I love the book. I love the story. I'm looking forward to where Thor goes next. Marvel Zombies. I'm so happy to get a new mini. Black, White, Blood, issue number 1. A couple of short stories that take place in the Marvel Zombies universe. First one is when New York gets infected and Spider-Man is trying to protect the Daily Bugle. Or was it Daredevil? I don't remember. But the three stories, the stories were Daredevil as a zombie who's in a fight club and Punisher offers him a way out because Daredevil kind of is conscious that he's a zombie and that he's doing wrong, but at the same time, he can't help the urges. The other story was Spider-Man protecting New York until inevitably he gets infected. That was a really good one. I like this book. Again, recommend it for sure. Definitely recommend it. If you're a zombies fan, definitely something you should check out. Artwork, story, excellent. Miss Marvel, the New Mutant, issue number 3. I believe we have 2 more issues for this. I'm not sure if it's ending at 4 or it's ending at 5. I think it's ending at 5. Um, but I love how Miss Marvel's friend figures out that there is somebody hacking into Miss Marvel's dreams. And what they're doing is trying to set her up to be a psychic bomb and basically kill all the remaining mutants the moment she comes into contact with them voluntarily. However, her friend figures it out because he sees the little tracker in her hair and he takes it out. And he he has to fight to get Miss Marvel to wake up, but we find out that that's why she's having these dreams or whatnot. Now she's free from the dreams, and it was just excellent. This was an excellent issue. If you like Miss Marvel, this is something you definitely want to read. Um, I like where they're going with Miss Marvel. Again, with the X books though, remember everything's connected, and it's a headache. All right, we've got next Uncanny Avengers issue number, I believe it was 3. And I love that there are 2 mutants in here that a relationship is developing. Read the book to find out. But Cap makes a really awesome speech at at the start of the book. He makes an awesome speech about the X-Men and how he stands behind them and the American dream, everything. He gives the big speech, and then they go after the 2 twins in this issue, the Fenris twins, and unfortunately they get away because they make a distraction. But then we see the 2 mutants, and what happens is Cap wants to know who is supporting the mutants, and he finds out at the end of the issue we all already knew, especially if you were reading Iron Man. You know that the person that's supporting the mutants and hiding them is Kingpin, and he gets introduced. He makes his entrance in this book on the last page. So shocker for those of you that haven't been reading Iron Man or anything else X-Men. Not so much of a shocker for us who've been reading Iron Man and X-Men and everything else. Again, why everything is somehow connected. And finally, we've got Uncanny Spider-Man issue number 2. Mystique doesn't want to be bothered, does not want to be near, what do you call it, Nightcrawler. She doesn't believe it's Nightcrawler. She's kind of having issues with her memory. We get to see Nightcrawler versus Rhino versus the group of people that are trying to capture him. And it turns out one of the people, the leader, she kind of falls for Kurt towards the end of the issue, and now it's going to be a problem. And I'm really loving this story with Kurt taking over a Spider Mantle, at least till we get into the whole Wall of X ending, and then he'll probably end up going back to the X-Men and not being a spider anymore. And for some reason I lost myself. But this was an excellent book. I loved it. Highly recommend checking it out. But with that, that's it for this review. Before something weird happens to the video again. Thank you all so much for being here. Links in the description below. Like I said, we're going to be doing reviews throughout the whole week. So stay tuned for the next one. Till then, take care. Keep reading, keep collecting. And I will see all of you really soon in the next video. Take care, everybody.